Monetization models. Specifically, we're going to discuss on this video the one-off, the lineup, and event magic. Let's start with the one-off. Here is the workflow, the step-by-step process for this. The first one is problem hook solution. So that's where you start. Utilizing the same formula for 111 products, come up with a problem that you know you can find someone else who has already solved it. And then create that hook. That makes it so compelling that people have to acknowledge it and take a look further at it. Second, make the contact. Explain to the contributor, the expert, how you're going to do most, if not all, the work. Yet they can basically make free money and it will take them little to zero time. The third step here is prep the product. Before interviewing them or getting the knowledge out of them, create the product outline and then turn each part of the outline into questions you can ask the expert to get the content that you need. So the purpose, the why, the what, the how, that outline. Use that, create that to solve the problem you're going to have them solve, and then turn each of those elements of the outline into a question that you can ask them to get the solution. Number 4, conduct the interview. Using Skype, GoToWebinar, Hangouts, email, any other technology, go through with your questions with the expert. 5th, create the pitch. Using a simple step-by-step template process or your own desired outcome for selling the product. Create the thing that will sell the product. Usually this is a regular plain old sales letter for the one-off type of products. And number 6, get the promotion. Either have them mail their list or use your own resources to get exposure to it, or a combination of all of the above to make this work. So this is a step-by-step way of going about finding one expert to solve one problem with one solution with one credible hook. You make the contact. Once you get acceptance, then you create the outline, turn the outline into questions, conduct the interview. From that, create the product as a result. Keep it simple as possible, then create the pitch, and then get the promotion for it. And the second model is the lineup model. This is where we have many problems with one solution. So we can combine creatively 3 to 5 different types of problems together, hooked around one major topic, and then whatever our solution is, it solves multiple problems if they follow the solution step by step. And for this, we will typically use more than one contributor to create this type of product. Then we create the irresistible hook. And I'm going to show you later exactly how to create hooks for these types of products. But basically, you come up with a story and a narrative of why it was required to bring these experts together to create this one-of-a-kind solution that can't be created anywhere else. Step 3, solicit experts aggressively. You're going to have to contact many more experts than you'll need, because some will say no and some will flake out and some will fall through. Make the offer so good to them when you do contact them that they would be dumb if they said no. And then 4th, prep the product. Same thing, only basically this time we create the outline and then we create it with each module is a problem as it relates to the singular solution. And then we turn those into questions, and then we divvy up those questions amongst the appropriate experts that we've contacted and solidified. We create the pitch in a very similar fashion, and then we get the promotion in a very similar fashion as well, with the extra addition if we have multiple people who could potentially promote for us, as opposed to just one. Then I recommend you eventually get to the level of what we call event magic, where you do this monetization model. One problem, many solutions. So find a unique set of experts who have been able to each come up with their own unique, contextually specific solution to a single problem. Then make the hook a story narrative of why you had to bring these together. Consider creating a theme around it. And then find these experts with lists and get them to agree in advance explicitly that part of being part of the event is that they will promote it. And then, of course, do additional promotion on top of that. And then at the end of each of their trainings, have them provide a solution that the audience can purchase through your affiliate link. The event magic is very interesting. Let's just make up a scenario here where Expert 1 had a 12,000 person list. Expert 2 had a 39,000 person list. Expert 3 had a 31,000 person list. Expert 4 had a 27,000 person list. And Expert 5 had a 22,000 person list. Now, it's good for all of them because each one of them is going to reach 4 other lists besides their own. But it's good for you. In a situation like this, and this is just straight up made up numbers, I just want to show you how powerful this is you could build a list of, and this I've seen this happen. I've seen better than this over and over again. But this is a way through a dedicated period of time of maybe 2 months, maybe even less, where you could build a list of 4,700 people and have over 2,000 people attend these live webinars or live hangouts from your experts, each of which are pitching a product that you make 50% on the sale. Now, the event benefits is very clear. To you, the organizer, of course, you get the leads, you get a cut on the sale potentially as an affiliate, or you can give them all of the sale if you wish to and just take the leads. Either one of those scenarios are okay, and it might depend on what you want to accomplish, on which one you choose. It's good for the presenter. So for a small segment of their list that they trade out, they get exposure to many other segments of many other lists. And it's great for the customer because not only do they get a lot of free, amazing education, they get the luxury of choosing who, if anything, and what, if anything, to go further with if they decide to purchase. They get more options to increase their purchasing power and making good decisions. As the organizer, let me warn you, you will be herding cats. Just because these people are successful or knowledgeable on a specific topic doesn't mean they're smart. You will have to treat them as basically beginners with very clear, very specific information with exactly what you want to make it as easy for them as possible. You need at least one closer if money is a primary factor. At least one of your experts should, in addition to teaching, be able to sell and move units. Otherwise, the event won't be worth your while if you get a lot of experts where none of them also has the skill of selling their expertise. Appeals to ego, shamelessly appeal to their ego. You can get them to share more than they normally would by putting competitive measures in place. So if you have a way for the audience to rate the talks, then you just let each expert know that they're being rated. And somebody will want to get the highest rating, so somebody will go the extra mile. That's one example of appealing to the ego. You can also appeal to their ego by flat out giving them extra awards and recognition if they just make the most amount of sales, if they opt in the most amount of people that they refer, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Start with the event as simple as possible. Start with smaller players in the market. Start with smaller concepts and solutions. Get some wins under your belt, get some leads on your list, and then use those results to get bigger presenters with bigger lists. When it comes to presenters, easier, better. The less work they have to do, the more likely you will be successful. Do all the dirty work so they don't have to do any of it. That is so important for you to understand. Do all the work so they don't have to do any of it. Due diligence is the second point here. Become intimately aware of who the person is and what their offer is and how they will sell and service it. Because you better know before you ever put them in front of customers if they really know what they're talking about or not. And what to expect post-sale so you're not in for any surprises. The third point here is instruct and dictate. This is your show, and they're your talent. You tell them what to do. And you don't let them be creative. You just basically point them and say, you're going to do this, this, and this, and then you take control of the situation and you run it. Yes, they're gurus. Yes, they have knowledge you do not have. Yes, they might have prestige you don't have, but this is your show. You call the shots. And you cannot let the show get away from you. Otherwise, nobody benefits from a situation like that. So keep everything within your control. Lastly, set up results in advance. Lay out a goal and revenue plan with your audience or with your contributors, your presenters, that you think is doable under the right circumstance. So tell them, I expect that you should be able to sell X number of units, and I think this is what it would take to accomplish that. Are you up for it? Because then you can revenue project amongst each presenter and get a good idea financially of what's good. And at the same time, you don't set any expectations up with anybody that are not impossible to meet. And that is very cool. When everybody's playing out the same game plan, they know exactly how hard they have to work and what they need to focus on to help achieve and influence that result. And if they're happy and you're happy and the customer's happy, I like that situation. And let's do as many of those as we possibly can. From the customer standpoint, it's very important to also be aware of things like this. You want the event to have clarity. How can you make it so the customer isn't overwhelmed and, in fact, better off because they participated in the event than if they didn't? You better be able to have a specific answer to that question before you actually set the event loose in the wild. So very often what you'll have is, if you have very cohesive and explain to customers in advance the purpose of each training, it's almost like the outline. This is the purpose of this particular presenter. This is why you should listen to it. This is what you need to listen for. And this is how you get the most out of it. And then you tie that together in a step-by-step fashion. They will love you in your events. The customers will. Social. How can you leverage the power of the group of people participating in the event that could be customers to make it look like you're happening and you're where it's at? People very often will make decisions based on what other people are doing. And if it's a buying decision and they see a lot of other people buying, then they're more likely to buy as well. So that's how you can maximize conversion and generate more profit as a result of that. But realize you do have the power to influence social. So it could be as simple as a like button to something more complex where people are sharing their feedback and you're using that as testimonials to get other customers to see that it's okay to share and to purchase. One of my favorite things is this unfairness. I like unfair. How can you use your position of power to negotiate something for the customer that they wouldn't get under normal circumstances? It is amazing what you can do if you ask for it. So we used to run an event called Auction Webinar, and we would make other people contribute product to it, and we would basically tell them, you have to give us a better deal than you've ever offered to anyone before, so I can go out there and say unequivocally that this is a discount you've never seen before in your life. This is lower than the lowest it's ever been. But I could negotiate such an unfair advantage for my customers because I was going to be the one that was giving the promotion and the focus of exposure for that individual. So it was free money to them. But I created a situation where the customer just benefited tremendously so. And of course, I made money. And the contributor made money. Excitement. How can you make them feel like they're contributing and participating in something greater than themselves? I'm talking about the customer here. How can we make the customer's life brighten and be happier and give them hope and encouragement by being part of something bigger than themselves? It's just a question you should ask yourself and come up with some sort of answer. So if I pulled you over on the side of the road one day and said, Officer Jason Fladlin here, I'm the customer police. Did you do that thing to make people very excited and happy about competing in or contributing, or participating specifically? Let's use the word participation. That's the best word. Participating in something that was greater than themselves. What did you do to make that happen? If you said, oh, I don't know, you get an F. Okay, you fail. You go to customer jail. So you want to say, well, I did this. And as long as it's something you can specifically point to and say, I did this, you're 99% ahead of anybody else. So there you go. This is the different models to consider for leveraging experts, specifically step by step, to make some money, to get some leads, and to make some customers happy. We'll delve more specifically into each of these components right now.